You know what most English learners say when they want to buy something cheap? They say, I want to buy something used, or can I find secondhand things? And honestly, that works. But it's not the best way to say it in America. The real trick is a word that sounds warmer, friendlier, and actually makes people smile when you use it. Today we're talking about garage sales, thrift stores, and the magic word pre-loved. Stick around. By the end of this episode, you'll sound like you've been bargain hunting in the US your whole life.
Hey everyone, welcome to Speak Like a Native. I'm Maya.
And I'm Leo. Let's get into it.
Maya, I have to confess something. Before this episode, I thought garage sale sounded weird. Like selling a garage, but my American friend told me I was completely wrong.
You are not the first person to make that mistake. A lot of learners hear a garage sale and think, wait, are they selling their actual garage? No, it's a sale that happens in your garage. People clean out their homes, old furniture, clothes, books, baby stuff you don't need anymore, and set it all up in their garage or their driveway, and then neighbors come and buy things for super cheap.
Okay, so that's the literal meaning. But is there like a cultural meaning too? I feel like Americans have a whole different attitude about buying used things compared to people in some other countries.
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what this episode is about. In many parts of the world, buying something used can feel embarrassing. Like, oh, I can't afford new things. But in America, thrifting and garage sale shopping is a hobby. It's a lifestyle. People brag about the amazing deal they found. They say, look at this vintage lamp I got for $5, with pride.
Really? People brag about buying cheap stuff?
Absolutely. There's even a word for it, bargain hunting. And the way you talk about it matters a lot. If you say I bought a used shirt, that sounds a little meh. But if you say I found a pre-loved denim jacket at a thrift store, now you sound cool. You sound like you know what you're doing.
Pre-loved. That's a beautiful word. It means something was loved before, not just thrown away.
Exactly. Let's slow down and really break this down. The most common words in this topic are garage sale, thrift store, and pre-loved. Let's start with garage sale.
Okay, so a garage sale is in someone's house, usually just one family, right?
Right. One family sets everything out. Sometimes neighbors join together and have a multi-family sale. But the key is, it's temporary. It happens for 1 or 2 days, usually on a Saturday morning, and then everything is gone. If you miss it, you miss it.
That's stressful.
It is. That's why Americans wake up early on Saturdays to drive around looking for garage sale signs. It's a whole thing. Now, the second place is a thrift store. That's a permanent store. You can go any day. Thrift stores are usually run by charities. So you might see names like Goodwill, Salvation Army, or Savers.
So a thrift store is always a building, open, regular hours, and the money goes to charity?
Perfect. You've got it. And the third term, pre-loved, is the most interesting one. This is a marketing word. Stores use it to make used things sound more appealing, but native speakers also use it in casual conversation.
Give me an example. When would a native speaker actually say pre-loved?
Imagine you're at a party and someone compliments your sweater. An English learner might say, oh, it's used. I got it at a secondhand store. That's grammatically correct, but it sounds a little cold. A native speaker would say, thanks, it's pre-loved. I scored it at a thrift store downtown.
Scored it. That's another word I hear. I scored a great deal. That means I got a great bargain, right?
Exactly. Score as a verb means you got something valuable for a really good price. I scored this dress for $10, or I scored a vintage coffee table at a garage sale. It sounds enthusiastic and proud, and that's the cultural attitude. Thrifting is something to be proud of.
Okay, so let me practice. If I want to tell my friend about my new jacket, I say, I scored this pre-loved jacket at a thrift store for $15. Does that sound natural?
That sounds 100% natural. And your friend would probably say, no way, that's such a good find.
Such a good find. I'm writing that down.
Write it down. Good find is another very common phrase. So now, let me ask you a question. What do you think is the most common mistake learners make when talking about thrifting?
I'm going to guess they use secondhand too much, or they say use goods in a way that sounds like a textbook.
Close. The biggest mistake is saying secondhand market or used goods store. Those phrases are not wrong, but they are formal. They sound like you're reading from a business report. Americans almost never say secondhand market in everyday conversation.
So what do we say instead?
For the physical place, say thrift store or charity shop. If it's at someone's house, say garage sale or yard sale. For things that are used, say pre-loved if you want to sound warm and friendly, or just used if you're being neutral.
Okay, so used is fine, but secondhand is too formal?
Not exactly. Used is very common. Secondhand is also fine, but it's more of an adjective you use for specific things. Like a secondhand car is totally normal, but a secondhand store sounds a little old-fashioned. Most Americans say thrift store or used bookstore or consigned shop.
Wait, consignment shop? That's new. What's a consignment shop?
Great question. A consignment shop is like a classier version of a thrift store. People bring their nice clothes or furniture to the store. The store sells them for the owner and they split the money. So things are usually a bit more expensive, but also higher quality. Rich people often buy designer clothes at consignment shops for half the price.
Wow. So that's another word to know.
Yes. And here's a tip for Chinese speakers specifically. A lot of learners from China translate directly and say old things store or secondhand goods shop. That will sound unnatural to an American ear. Just say thrift store. It's one word, easy to remember.
What about Spanish speakers? Do they make a different mistake?
Good catch. Spanish speakers sometimes say garage with a Spanish pronunciation, garahe, instead of gurahj. But the bigger thing is that in many Spanish-speaking countries, there isn't a big culture of garage sales, so the concept itself is unfamiliar. The word thrift store is often confused with flea market, which is different.
Okay, explain the difference between a thrift store and a flea market.
A thrift store is a fixed building, set hours, organized. A flea market is like an outdoor market that happens on weekends. Many different vendors set up tables and sell things, sometimes new, sometimes old. Flea markets are more chaotic, more negotiable. At a thrift store, the price is the price. At a flea market, you can bargain.
So at a garage sale, can you bargain?
Yes, you can. Very politely. You can say, would you take $5 for this? Or is this your best price? But you don't aggressively bargain like in a market in some countries. It's much softer.
Now here's the part that surprises most people. And Leo, I want you to pay attention because you might be making this mistake too. Uh-oh, what is it?
The word cheap. Many learners use cheap to describe something they bought at a good price. They say, I bought this cheap shirt. But in America, cheap can have a negative meaning. It can mean low quality. If you say, I bought this cheap shirt, an American might think, oh, it's probably bad quality and it'll fall apart.
So what should I say instead?
Say affordable, or say it was a good deal, or say I got it for a steal. A steal means you paid almost nothing for something valuable. This lamp was a steal, only $3.
Okay, so let me organize all this in my head. Garage sale temporary, at someone's house, thrift store permanent store, usually charity. Pre-loved a warmer way to say used. Good deal or a steal way to describe a great price. Affordable better than cheap.
That is a perfect summary. You're ready to go thrifting in America.
But Maya, I have a question. If I go to a thrift store for the first time, what do I say to the cashier? I don't want to freeze.
That's a great question because real conversations are different from textbook conversations. At a thrift store, the cashier is usually very friendly. They might say, did you find everything okay? And you can respond, yes, I found some great stuff.
Some great stuff. That sounds very natural.
It is. And if you're paying and you want to compliment the store, you can say, you have a really nice selection here. That means you think they have good things to choose from. Americans love hearing that.
Let me try a full conversation. So I walk up to the cashier with a jacket. She says, did you find everything okay? I say, yes, I found some pre-loved treasures. Is that too much?
Haha, that is charming. That would actually make the cashier smile. Pre-loved treasures, that's very endearing. A more casual version would be, yeah, I scored some good stuff. Also great.
Okay, let's do a practice round. Listeners, if you're driving or doing chores, just listen and repeat in your head. Maya's going to ask me a question, and I'm going to answer in my best native speaker English.
Perfect. Leo, what did you buy at the garage sale last weekend?
I scored this pre-loved bookshelf for only $10. It was a steal.
Excellent. Now, how do you describe the thrift store you went to?
It's a nice little thrift store downtown. They have a really good selection of vintage clothes.
Beautiful. Now, one more. You see a friend wearing a nice sweater. How do you ask them where they got it?
That's a nice sweater. Did you get it at a thrift store?
Perfect. And the friend would probably say, yeah, I got it pre-loved. Can you believe it was only $8?
Bucks. That's slang for dollars. So $8 is $8.
Right. Now let's talk about one more cultural rule that's important. When you go to a garage sale, there's an unspoken rule. Don't show up too early. Americans put the start time in their ad, like 8 a.m. If you show up at 7:30, that's rude. And this is funny, some people show up at 7:45 and wait in their car. That's acceptable.
So it's like a concert. You wait outside until the doors open.
Exactly. And one more thing, at a garage sale, don't immediately criticize the items. I've seen tourists pick up an old lamp and say, "This is so ugly." That would be considered rude. Instead, just say, "This is interesting," or "This is unique." And if you don't like something, just put it down quietly.
What about at a thrift store? Can I try on clothes?
Yes, most thrift stores have fitting rooms, but some smaller ones don't. In that case, people hold the clothes up against their body in the mirror. It's very common. You'll see people doing it all the time.
Okay, I want to give our listeners a challenge. After this episode, try to use one of these phrases today. Say, "I scored a good deal," or "I love thrift stores" in English out loud. Even if you're just talking to yourself, practice makes permanent.
And if you're a listener from a country where thrifting isn't common, like maybe Japan or the Middle East, the next time you visit the US, go to a thrift store. It's a real cultural experience. You'll understand Americans better.
Before we go, I want to tell you all something. Subscribe to Speak Like a Native. Why? Because every single day, we give you real English that you can actually use. Not textbook English, not robot English. Real English from real conversations.
And today's lesson is special because it's not just about words. It's about understanding how Americans think about value. When an American says pre-loved, they're not just describing an object. They're saying this thing has a story. This thing was part of someone's life, and that's beautiful.
My favorite takeaway from today, swap used for pre-loved and secondhand store for thrift store. Instantly more natural.
And remember, don't say cheap, say affordable or a good deal. Your English will sound warmer and friendlier.
Thanks for listening to Speak Like a Native. We'll see you in the next episode.
Keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep sounding like a native. Bye, everyone.